Gallery Studios in downtown Little Rock. This is Capitol View.
And good Sunday morning to you. Welcome into Capitol View. I'm Jay Burr. Arkansas is now entering its second month of fighting COVID-19, and Representative French Hill is fighting the pandemic for us here in Washington. He joins us now while being back home here in Arkansas. And Congressman, we certainly welcome you, and we appreciate the time.
Thanks for having me, Jay.
Let's get right into it here. Obviously, you've been appointed to the CARES Act Congressional Oversight Commission. It's quite a mouthful there. I guess, what are you guys being tasked with specifically?
This is a bipartisan oversight commission. It's a watchdog group that was in the statute, and it's designed to be the overseers for the Treasury Department and the Federal Reserve in how they design and implement this economic preservation money. For example, how are they making the loans to the aviation industry that's been so terribly damaged by the coronavirus?
And I guess sort of in regards to opening things up further, you were selected for President Trump's Opening America Up Again congressional group. So again, I guess going forward here, what's sort of the task with that group?
Well, you know, the president's been meeting with health professionals, with economic companies of all sizes and shapes to find out, well, what's the best way for us to get our economy back to full capacity. He also has senators and congressmen that he's asked to do this. We're bringing him ideas from our constituents. We're bringing him conditions on the ground about what's happening in our states, what Arkansas is doing versus other places on trying to get the economy back open.
And I guess to what account do you take just the different regions of just the situations? Obviously, Arkansas, much different than the Northeast, much different than the West. The Midwest kind of has its own issues and set of circumstances. How do you kind of balance all that out when trying to open up everything across the country?
Well, it's a big challenge. The one thing we know for sure is it's going to be unique to each circumstance, whether you're in an urban area or rural area. How dense is your population? Arkansas has been blessed because we're spread out. I think Governor Hutchinson's been very prudent and balanced in his approach about fighting the virus and containing it, as well as his approach to opening it up. But it's a big difference. And when you think about the big urban areas like New York or California, they represent a huge part of our economy. They're going to come out of this a lot slower.
And you mentioned Governor Hutchinson. I guess another layer to this is balancing those state decisions with the national level.
It is, but President Trump has laid out the phases that his health care task force has suggested, the phased opening. And each of our governors are adopting their phases based on those national characteristics.
All right, let's move into the Paycheck Protection Program. Finally got another round of that. I know the one big thing that a lot of people were sticking to here, at least in the first round of the PPP, was how do some of these corporations, we saw Shake Shack give back $20 million, the Los Angeles Lakers, for example. How are those types of businesses receiving money when it's really designed to go towards small businesses?
That's a very good question. When the Senate drafted that bill, they were very generous in their definition. They simply said if the small business organization had fewer than 500 people, it was qualified. And they were more generous even for restaurant companies. They said 500 people per location. And they didn't ban public companies. So that's what's created, I think, this confusion. Secretary Mnuchin, our Treasury Secretary, has tried to qualify that, provide guidance. And I think you'll see that the vast majority of this money has gone to small businesses. The typical loan is under $200,000 in the first tranche, and in this second tranche, it's well under $100,000.
And HR 6399, I know it's something you're working on here, the Securing America's Vaccines for Emergencies. It's the SAVE Act. Basically will be to amend the Defense Production Act. What's going on with that? And I know it's kind of with that, we're fighting China to a certain degree, or at least depending on them less when it comes to the national supply chain.
Right. It's about the supply chain. The Defense Production Act was passed when Harry Truman was our president. It was to command resources in the country for aviation, for electronics, for critical national security reasons in case of shortage. Now, over the years, it's been added to be energy, certain kinds of minerals, and I propose that we add medical supplies, vaccines, and pharmaceuticals as major national security items under the Defense Production Act. And this, as you say, will result in us being diversified from China in our medical supply chain and have more of it back here in the United States.
So I guess the question would be begged is, how do we bring some of that manufacturing back over stateside?
Right. Well, it's mostly in our chemical industry. This is not the end use of making a pill, for example, by Pfizer. This is really in the chemical composites that go into drugs, both generic drugs as well as in a lot of those materials that go into PPE, protective equipment for our medical folks. We would have a strategy that would encourage multiple sources, encourage some sources being in the United States in case of a pandemic, and diversify that supply chain over a period of time using our market-based economy. We can do this. China dominates those critical elements in pharmaceuticals. You'd be surprised. They make all the ibuprofen, for example, and many other key drugs that Americans take every day.
I guess the one thing on a lot of folks' mind is we've seen one round of stimulus checks. Are there still talks of potentially a second round, even into a third round, even as things start to slowly open up in terms of the economy and maybe there's a slight sense of normalcy starting to creep back into society?
Well, Jay, you raised a good point, which is we've put $3 trillion in direct taxpayer money into the economy for April, May, and June. Now think about that. That's 60% of what we spend in the federal government in an entire year on everything from Medicare to national parks to aircraft carriers. So I think my view is we ought to assess how much we've done, how successful has it been as the economy opens back up, and be very cautious about immediately going out and spending more federal money. And if we do, make sure we very narrowly target it to the gaps that we discover.
All right. Well, there is plenty going on up there in Washington, despite a lot of things being shut down.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely, French Hill. We certainly appreciate the time. We'll do it again soon. Well, coming up after a quick break, we take a look at how COVID-19 is impacting the supply chain for farmers in the state. You're watching Capitol View on Sunday morning.
For more than 30 years, Superior Senior Care has served seniors and their families in the comfort of their own home, promoting independence, peace, and emotional stability. Isn't it time you called for your aging loved one?
Hey y'all, we're here at Down South. We know that you've been cooped up and you realize some things need to change, like that uncomfortable sofa, worn out recliner, or spice up that bedroom. And what about a new dining table for the family to gather around? We also have beanbag beds for indoor camping. Brighten your home and lift your spirits with some new decor and enjoy the warm sunsets in our oversized rocking chairs. Let's make the best of these days. You're not cookie cutter, and your home shouldn't be either. So y'all come see us, Down South Furniture in El Paso.
Hi, I'm Sherry. At Central Arkansas Fireplaces, we have a large selection of outdoor products, from outdoor fireplaces and fire pits to gas, ceramic, and pellet grills. Whether you're custom building an outdoor kitchen with a fireplace, just looking to replace an existing grill, or maybe you'd like the convenience of this new modular island by Blaze. Come by and see us at Central Arkansas Fireplaces, where we know fireplaces and grills.
Sold it. Attention Conway land buyers, developers, investors, and cattlemen. Rolling Hills Ranch and Equipment Absolute Auction, Thursday, May 21st at 11 a.m. 740 acres located in Conway, Arkansas, with a 2,000 square foot home and 40 by 80 barn. Excellent deer and turkey hunting. Offered in 6 tracks and combinations, and every track is selling regardless of price. Also selling a John Deere tractor, cat dozer, farm implements, and more. Download the Wilson app and bid today.
Sold it.
When you call Superior Senior Care, we'll tell you more about our registry of caregivers who are trustworthy, experienced, and compassionate to your family's needs. Call us today for your free in-home consultation.
You're watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
And welcome back into Capitol View. Arkansas farmers still hard at work, but keeping a close eye on how the COVID-19 will impact products. Chief Economist Travis Justice with the Arkansas Farm Bureau joins us now to talk about how farmers are sort of weathering the storm here as well. And Travis, we certainly do appreciate the time.
Thank you.
I guess let's get to it here now. I know that the meat processing is still kind of a big issue here. What do we know about this? Because I know it's kind of a backwards thing, but it's all that middleman.
Yes, the supply chain for meat products, from farm to retail outlets, food service outlets, and ultimately the consumer. The issue has been with the processing plants. Those farm animals have to go through processing to turn into food products, and the processing sector is a labor intensive. Those plants have a lot of workers, and so some of these plants face several challenges. The first was when we started having shutdown orders, work from home, and particularly when we closed schools. We saw a lot of absenteeism grow in these processing plants because all of a sudden we've got children at home, and so they took a while to adjust there. And then we faced the challenge of some of the plant workers attracted the virus, and so then ultimately resulted in a few packing plants being closed. Several have been, over 20 meat processing plants have been closed during some period of time over the last month. Some of those have come back online now, so they closed for a short period of time for deep cleaning and so forth. And so that has just interrupted the normal processing flow of farm animals and created not enough capacity there to process the animals programmed to go through those processing channels, and correspondingly reduce the amount of meat that's supplied to retailers and food service that would normally be expected. So it's created pressure on retail meat prices because of less meat flowing, but it's caused a negative effect on farm prices because less animals can be processed. So we've got a backlog of animals waiting for processing, and then some limitations placed on the meat supply going forward. And then the other issue, during these shutdowns across the country, restaurants were closed. Well, for the meat industry, half of all meat consumed in the United States is consumed away from home. So you blocked off a huge chunk of the normal distribution for meat products when restaurants closed. So it's taken time to readjust those supply lines to shift to grocery and food stores. So now we have more Americans buying their protein products from grocery stores because the food service sector is slow. So it's taken a while to readjust those supply lines. And so consumer purchasing and demand has changed, And plus the prices have responded all over the place as these adjustments are made. A significant event happened this week when the administration declared that meat processing was considered, and they invoked the Defense Production Act to declare meat processing a critical infrastructure industry. So this will, hopefully slow down or prevent meat plants from closing. But along with that comes additional worker protection for safety standards, since that workforce has to be on the job. Additional protocols will have to be instituted for worker safety, for disease purposes, and so forth. So, given that, processing plants will be open, but they will not be operating at maximum efficiency because of social distancing in the plant and other protocols. That's going to slow the capabilities of those plants. So, although it will help stabilize that, but it still won't be at peak efficiency in order to work off the supply of animals. It takes a while to readjust the animal supply coming in there, and so hopefully some stability will happen here, but it has created a severe challenge for the processing sector and farmers especially, and how it's reflected on farmers either is reflected in the prices they receive for their product. So farm prices have been severely depressed. We've seen cattle and hog prices drop 35% in the last 4 weeks. And so a severe drop in prices until we can get this surplus worked off and the backlog caught up. So farmers are really suffering from low returns on their animals during this congestion in the food chain, because the link in the food chain, the processing link, is not broken, but it's confined and been restricted greatly.
All right. Well, hey, I like when we have you on, that's for sure. I don't have to talk much. You kind of summed it all up right there in one question for us. Travis Justice with the Arkansas Farm Bureau, the chief economist. We certainly appreciate the time, and we will certainly do this again, hopefully, when things are maybe a little back more to normal.
Very good. Anytime.
All right. Appreciate you. All right, when we come back, we take a look at how Arkansas is starting to ease restrictions put in place because of COVID-19. You're watching Capitol View on Sunday morning.
Replacing your old electrical panel? That's a don't do it yourself. Call Mr. Sparky instead to schedule your electrical panel replacement.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Hi folks, Bart Sherwood of Sherwood Tractor. Meet my 7-month-old grandson, Jude the Dude. Like Oliver, weighing in at 25 pounds, he is heavy-duty number 2. Jude would never let you down, and neither would a heavy-duty Mahindra tractor. Come to Sherwood Tractor today and save what's in your barn.
One of the hardest things about that day was telling the children that Mom had cancer and to try to help them understand that it was going to be okay when I didn't believe I was going to be okay. I've learned through Dr. Stanley that you cannot be full of fear and full of faith at the same time. Every time he says something, I'm like, oh, wow, I see it. And I get excited because I learned something different.
Sold it.
Attention luxury home builders and real estate investors. Lake Hamilton auction Thursday, May 28th at 11 a.m. Offering 3 contiguous lots in gated Bayview Estates subdivision, totaling 403 feet of Lake Hamilton frontage and 9/10 of an acre of land in Lakeside School District. Offered in 3 lots and combinations. Bid online with the Wilson Auctioneers app or live on site at Serendipity Trail in Hot Springs. Go to wilsonauctioneers.com.
Sold it.
My name is Alma, and 4 years ago I had back surgery. Shortly after my back surgery, my pain came back. The pain was so bad that I couldn't cook, clean, or do my garden anymore. I couldn't do lawn work. And the worst part of it, I had to retire from my job. Then I found Arkansas Spine and Pain, and the change is remarkable. Now I can cook, I can clean, I can even babysit my grandchildren. Arkansas Spine and Pain, they helped me get my life back, ASAP.
Overstock and chill with Overstock Furniture and Mattress. Savings now up to 70% off. Overstock and chill with a living room set now from $4.99. Plus 2 free months of your favorite online streaming service. Up to 70% off entire selection of Magnolia Home by Joanna Gaines. Name brand mattresses from $2.99. Overstock and chill. Financing available for everyone, no matter your credit. Overstock and chill with Overstock Furniture and Mattress. Savings now up to 70% off.
You're watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
Well, it is opening week for businesses across the country. At least 21 states now easing up on their stay-at-home orders and other restrictions, allowing restaurants, gyms, movie theaters, malls, and shops to slowly come back online. Here in Arkansas, though, Governor Asa Hutchinson announcing restaurants will be allowed to resume dine-in operations on May 11th. Under certain guidelines, capacity will run at 1/3 of maximum. Tables must be separated out at least 6 feet apart, and no groups larger than 10 will be allowed. Also, patrons and staff will be required to wear masks, and staff will also wear gloves. Now, there will also be daily staff screenings. Central Arkansas restaurateur Jim Keats owns over a dozen restaurants in the area, and he's felt the pinch. He says his establishments are going above and beyond to make sure people are comfortable with their operation and that they are safe in his restaurants.
We have our procedures down, everything from sanitation to, which we've always been a leader in anyhow. You know, I mean, we've always been very fastidious about that anyhow. We've even added additional steps. So we feel good about, how we're doing, but we're going to get better every day.
Now, the obvious question pops up about bad apples that might try to get away with having more people in their establishment or aren't putting into practice those social distancing guidelines. Well, Dr. Nate Smith addressed those concerns earlier in the week.
For the restaurants, it'll be under the same regulatory framework that we currently have. All of our restaurants are licensed. There are regular inspections, and there's also complaint-driven inspections. If we get a complaint that a facility is not following the rules, we'll go and investigate that.
The state is also creating the Arkansas Ready for Business grant program to cover expenses for PPE, hand sanitizer, cleaning supplies and services, and other one-time expenses. Initially started at $15 million. They are trying to add another $85 million. That is pending legislative approval. Well, Governor Asa Hutchinson gave the green light to gyms to reopen this week with some restrictions, obviously. Staff and patrons will be scanned when they enter the facility. You won't be allowed to have traveled into hot zones recently or have had any symptoms or even have a compromised immune system. Masks will be required for patrons, but they can be removed while actually performing any exercise. While exercising, people have to be 12 feet apart. Now, 10 Fitness Director of Operations Robert Girk and says they will go above and beyond their normal sanitizing protocols.
They're super excited to get back in, to have that sense of normalcy, but we know that a large percentage of the population isn't going to be comfortable.
Just because we're lifting some restrictions and opening up opportunities for us to start moving back to a more normal. We need everybody to still take this very seriously and not think, well, they're opening something up so everything's back to normal.
I know I'm ready to get my swole on tomorrow, but no child care services will be permissible at these facilities at this time. The governor making the call to lift the ban on barbershops and beauty salons just in time for Mother's Day, but this also applies to medical spas, tattoo parlors, and nail salons. But again, certain caveats are applied. No more than 10 people allowed in facilities, or only 30% capacity for larger operations. Walk-ins will not be allowed. Clients should wait in their cars. Face coverings must be used by staff and for customers when applicable. Now, the governor said he was excited and ready to get his haircut again. And Natalie Blaney, who owns The Fix here in Little Rock, is just excited to get back in the game.
The answer is yes. I do have plans to get a haircut, and but I got a feeling I might have to wait in line because there's going to be a lot of reservations being made over the first 3 days of next week. But everybody is so excited about this, ladies and gentlemen both, and the time is right. There's a great need for it.
I have a feeling that we will be extremely busy. Yes, but we do work by appointment, so we will be able to kind of control that chaos a little bit. But yes, I have a feeling that everyone will be ready to come back and sit down and, you know, just get out of the house and feel refreshed again.
Yeah, and I need to fix the frizz. Well, the Department of Commerce also mentioned that those who are self-employed will still be allowed to apply for pandemic unemployment assistance once they get that site up and running. Former Vice President Joe Biden comments publicly to accusations from a former aide. Tara Reid, who worked in Biden's Senate office, alleges Biden sexually assaulted her back in 1993. Biden saying he's confident there's nothing to the allegation. As NBC's Susan McGinnis reports, Reid's story has evolved over time.
Former Vice President and apparent Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden speaking publicly for the first time since a former Senate staffer accused him of sexually assaulting her nearly 3 decades ago.
I'm saying unequivocally, it never happened, and it didn't.
Biden responding to an allegation made last month by Tara Reid, who briefly worked in Biden's Senate office in the 1990s. She told the internet news outlet Democracy Now! He pinned her against a wall.
I remember his hands underneath my blouse and underneath my skirt as he was trying to kiss me, and I was pulling away.
Last year, Reid was among women accusing Biden of inappropriate touching that was not sexual. NBC contacted 5 women Reid said she told about the alleged assault. 3 former staffers said they don't recall Reid telling them. A 4th, asking to remain anonymous, says Reid did tell her. And a 5th says Reid told her about inappropriate touching, but not sexual assault. When then Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh was accused of sexual assault, Biden said such accusations should essentially be considered real. Today,
and I'm not saying any woman, they should come forward. They should be heard. And then it should be investigated.
Biden calling on the National Archives to release any records of complaints, but insisting none exist. Several prominent Democratic women, including Speaker Nancy Pelosi, have come forward to support Biden. President Trump, who has faced more than a dozen accusations of sexual misconduct, says Biden should respond.
It could be false accusations. I know all about false accusations.
From Joe Biden, a strong denial, but hardly the last word on this accusation in this election year.
And we are back to wrap it up after this. You're watching Capitol View on Sunday morning.
For more than 30 years, Superior Senior Care has served seniors and their families in the comfort of their own home, promoting independence, peace, and emotional stability. Isn't it time you called for your aging loved one?
Go to that.
I don't remember how it started. Our back and forth. Victory. Fumble. Repeat. It always came back.
Okay, here we go, throw it.
Yeah. You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.
Nice.
Dialing for dollars on KARK4 News at noon has been updated, and it's time for you to do the same. Go to KARK.com to register, then save this number in your phone so you'll know it's us when we call.
When you call Superior Senior Care, we'll tell you more about our registry of caregivers who are trustworthy, experienced, and compassionate to your family's needs. Call us today for your free in-home consultation.
You're watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
And that will do it for this week's Capitol View. Make sure you come right back here next week. We'll have an all-new Capitol View for you then. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay safe out there.